Welcome back in. Cognitive decline, particularly from Alzheimer's disease, is a devastating reality for millions. For some, it's important, though, to take proactive legal and financial steps to protect your assets for your family. Marshall Clay with Welsh Group joined us now to explain what you should consider getting done now. Good to have you with us this morning.
Good to be here.
Yeah, it's difficult to start this, but you have to think ahead of this, don't you?
Yeah, this is a heavy topic, and I think I was surprised. I was reading something just a couple of weeks ago, and it was a 2025 Alzheimer's Association report that said that 7.2 million people are currently living with Alzheimer's, and that doesn't even count the other mild cognitive decline that's out there. And so if you think about that, the vast majority of this is afflicted to the 65 and older. You're talking 10 to 15% of people that are 65 and older are suffering from this. And so when you're thinking through how do you get ahead of this, just kind of from a legal and financial standpoint, there's a couple of steps, and I think it all starts with starting early, right? I mean, the earlier you can start putting these pieces in place, the better. But I tell folks, look, you got to get your team in place, right? And that's going to include, financial planners, estate planning attorneys, accountants, and maybe even start to think about healthcare givers. Right? It doesn't mean that you have to choose all these.
And a way to pay for that too.
Yeah, and a way to pay for it as well. So the earlier you can start, the better. And then the second thing is just get organized, right? You want to have an inventory of all of your assets, right? And once you get beyond the assets, you get into the personal information. A lot of people forget about passwords and cell phone access and things like that are very important. I got a partner of mine who was dealing with this, and he said cell phone access was a big thing that they didn't have, and other important financial information like credit cards and insurance policies. Just making sure that those things are in a nice, neat place is extremely important. And this is another topic that you and I have talked about several times, is just making sure that those estate documents are up to date. The wills, the powers of attorney, the healthcare directives. If you're living in multiple states, making sure that the powers of attorney can apply not only to the state of Alabama, but maybe if you live primarily in Florida, something like that happens, you may need to have a different power of attorney there. And then making sure these beneficiary designations and things like that are put in place on your pensions, on your retirement accounts, and certainly on those insurance policies. So there's a lot for people to think about, but the earlier you can start, the better.
Well, that is a good list as a basis point for that. But yeah, but as you mentioned, generally you're thinking, retirement age, but unfortunately we're seeing diagnosis of this at an earlier ages. So really, and we don't know what could happen tomorrow anyway.
Exactly, and that's why I always say the earlier the better, because once you start going down this road, there's some legal hurdles that you may have to jump over. If you all of a sudden start experiencing this, you may be not able to update a lot of these documents, right? And so then you put a lot of burden on either a spouse or other family members to go and go down some legal roads that are very expensive and very cumbersome. And they want to be able to focus on your health care, not necessarily on this stuff.
All right, very important topic. Marshall Clay with the Welsh Group. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, we'll be right back.